Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for popping on by once again. Today, I am going to be sharing a Kickstarter preview, but before I get into that, I do want to mention that I have been compensated for this video. You know me, I am very upfront and transparent about these things. So keep in mind, I have been compensated to share this Kickstarter preview. Because now live on Kickstarter from my friends over at Acheron International is a new rules light cartoon-inspired role-playing game. And I'm here to share with you Helluva Town. Drawing inspiration from cartoons of the 1930s and creators such as Max Fleischer, Tex Avery, and Walt Disney, with a sprinkling of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the art of Ed Big Daddy Roth for good measure, Helluva Town is a cartoon gangster role-playing game sure to appeal to longtime gamers and newcomers alike. The world is that of 1930s New York, and a secret neighborhood known by some as Toyland is nestled between Little Italy and the Bowery and populated by living cartoon characters. This is a place where anyone can be anything. Normal rules don't apply, and everything, and I mean everything, is for sale. A neighborhood where lunacy and mayhem can erupt at any moment. Like any other free zone, Helluva Town has its own set of rules based on survival of the fittest, cartoon logic, and the world spawned around both. Beware of the Italo-American mob gang, the most powerful and dangerous group around, the Ducko family, whose patriarch lives in a bunker brimming with cash. Flee from the ultra-violent vigilantes trying to control the streets, led by the supervillain Jimmy Rat. Watch out for the pink rabbits crawling out of the manholes to sprinkle their sadistic traps upon you. And most of all, get ready to stack up bucks, avoid debts with the mob, and discover the secret ingredient that dictates all things, especially life, death, and everything between, ink. One of the more valuable substances in Helluva Town is ink, obtained via a totally environmentally friendly, 100% non-horrifying process by Scam Ink Incorporated Industries. Ink makes the toon's colors more vibrant and exciting, grabbing everyone's attention and making them capable of even wilder deeds. Refined ink is so rare and precious that it only circulates among the elite, though some enterprising entrepreneurs have been able to smuggle some raw ink into the less, let's say, refined area of the city. Its effect is temporary, however, and a little unsightly. Very new money. Not that your common toon cares about what the upper classes think as they gorge themselves on the stuff. At the heart of Helluva Town, under frantic lights and the roar of the crowd, is Grin Gardens, home to showbiz venues and gambling dens. The main street is lined with imposing cinemas and theaters, their billboards smothering the urban landscape. There is a retro charm to this neighborhood, its sidewalks brimming with betting folks in barrels and suspenders, and legions of street performers swallowing dynamite sticks, jumping through napalm hoops, dancing with tarantulas, or summoning the vindictive spirits of deceased celebrities. The elegant stores and cafes along the avenue add a certain romantic je ne sais quoi among the Kraken-scented sandwich stalls sold by fish-eyed fish people. Towering triumphantly over all is Maison du Hon Hon, the club where the divine diva Bella Bloom sings. Inside the Maison, young, sexy, lightly dressed hamburgers shake their buns for you. One thing is certain, everything can be bought in Grin Gardens, and tunes are always on sale. The heart of production in Helluva Town is its industrial area, Shocktopia. The entire neighborhood is covered in square prefabs, factories, and voltage towers frying with purple bolts. It's also home to anonymous, filthy masses of tunes, toned by hard labor and grateful for their lucrative salary, as the Scam Inc. propaganda posters boast. It is also, for better or worse, the only neighborhood from where the sky is visible, or at least a slice of sky filled with technicolored clouds and iridescent stars. caused by the chemicals released into the air by the large chimneys. A romantic touch that ensures people love the magical, dreamy atmosphere of the place, especially after everyone's 14-hour warehouse shift. Shocktopia is rife with potholes and ravines dug into the ground for resource extraction or naturally occurring. The ground here is particularly treacherous due to constant underground work. A toon touristing around will notice the tall cranes and large rollers transporting precious materials to the refineries, night or day. To the northeast of Shocktopia, Helluva Town fades into a vast, seemingly endless desert. On the border is a small town by the name of Gun Barrel. Rumors claim that, farther in, exotic rooster monarchies perform intricate twirling blade rituals, a delightful and permanent weight loss method for any interested toon. Rundown buildings, old toons sporting a worrying amount of hooks, the inebriating smell of night breeze, dive bars in which tales are told of one-eyed whales covered in harpoons. This is the charm of Jellyfish Junction, the city's docks. The piers are alive with quirky characters unloading crates of sapphires, cosmic squids, lawnmowers, weapons, and umbrellas as the ships sailing to dock are covered in radiant smiles and terrible curses inscribed on their hulls. There are hundreds of dock workers, including porters, carpenters, carriers, mechanics, and haulers. Not everyone can quite make out the entirety of the other's dialect or behavior, but after a pint of grog and a pirate song, you'll see friendships, or duels, blossom like nowhere else. The docks are controlled by the Fish Syndicate, a workers' union with a spiritual side, which collects the myriad origins of its members. They specialize in trade disputes and incredibly frequent strikes, but also in traditional dance parties, folk songs, horrific rituals, local produce markets, and fairs, and the occasional bender when the stars align. The most known aspect of the docks, however, are its night races. Some think them as illegal, mostly due to them ending in accidents and destruction, but it's all a big misunderstanding. They are officially sanctioned by the syndicate as a cultural activity. Jellyfish Junction is ideal for this type of event, thanks to its narrow streets, dangerous bends, and elevated viewing points to better enjoy this traditional sport. Players enter this world as toons, and there are 4 types you'll be able to play. Folks, which include all toons with humanoid features. Lackeys or aristocrats, fat or stick thin, elegant or clumsy, as tall as a bedside table, or towering weirdos, offered in a range of 256 color varieties, an assortment of origins and backgrounds, real or made up. Think Betty Boop, Fearless Fred, and Popeye the Sailor Man. Then we've got boogies, which include all toons that somehow relate to the supernatural. Skeletons, undead, specters, devils, assorted monsters, and cryptids. If you want to be scary and wield dangerous powers for others or yourself, this is the best category for it. Think of all the ghosties and ghoulies which would pop up in those old Max Fleischer cartoons. And let's not forget sexy devils, of course. Then we have beasties, which include all toons with animal attributes. Canids, felines, rodents, fish, amphibians, reptiles, insects, anything that Mother Nature might offer. Physical performances and the various heightened senses are the most appreciated aspects of these toons across all of Helluva Town. Think Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, Bimbo, and Felix the Cat. Lastly, we have stuff, which include all toons with the appearance of inanimate objects, which is an absurdly vast category. They are now animated objects in the most varied among toons. Some are as large as buildings, some as small as pins. They might look like tasty food or filthy trash bins, but also furniture, firearms, everyday objects, and so on and so off. Think Benny the Cab, the brooms in Fantasia, or, of course, Cuphead. Now let's talk your character and what you'll find on their character sheet. First, we have stats. Touchy. Physical strength, endurance, size, and agility. Its associated color is green, and its associated suit is diamonds. Feely. Speaking skills, charm, empathy. Its associated color is red, and its associated suit is hearts. We've got handy, driving skills, finger dexterity, tool proficiency, technical knowledge, more in general. Its associated color is blue, and its associated suit is clubs. Then we've got loony, folly, silliness, playfulness, and creativity. If particularly high, it could denote genius or madness. Its associated color is yellow, and its associated suit is spades. Then we've got bucks, obviously enough, the amount of money your toon possesses. Pocket, the toon's inventory. Bunks, how many hits the toon can sustain before they collapse with a big case of the sads and tweeting birdies circling their head. We've got the rap sheet, which will feature the exploits of your toon. Tricks, special powers that toons can make use of. They're conferred by a toon's cunning, their shape, their bizarre fate, or primordial horrifying curses. Sometimes they just show up with no reason, or bad reasons, or weird reasons, or embarrassing reasons. Whatever their origin, they allow a toon to take the everyday humdrum of modern city life with a spring in their step. A toon can use a trick once per showdown. Alternatively, it can be used once per scene if used during a challenge. And finally, there's being tuned out. Certain circumstances, such as making use of raw ink, can lead a toon to become tuned out. This unfortunate condition includes symptoms such as headaches, desaturation, fatigue, nausea, halitosis, light and sound sensitivity, melancholy, dehydration, amnesia, heartburn, rashes, sight loss, cramps, alopecia, and even becoming unmoored in the space-time continuum. So let's talk about how you play Helluva Town, because I began this video by saying this is a rules-light role-playing game, and it most certainly is. First off, you'll want to make sure each toon player has a deck of cards at their disposal, and you can even spice things up with these special Helluva Town decks, which are being offered in this Kickstarter. Not a single deck of cards at the table, mind you, but a deck for each player, except for the animator, which is the game master in Helluva Town. They don't use a deck. They narrate the action and determine the difficulty of things being attempted. If you're using the Helluva Town deck, then you'll be concerned with the color of the card, as well as the suit and what's on the face of the card. If you're using a poker deck, don't worry about the colors. You worry about the suit. So, if you recall, diamonds, green, touchy. Hearts, red, feely. Clubs, blue, handy. Spades, yellow, loony. Action resolution is broken down two ways. We have challenges and we have showdowns. And they're handled pretty similarly. A challenge is simply a task where the outcome is uncertain. Something which has consequences, either from success or failure, or both. Whereas a showdown is conflict between toons or NPTs, non-player toons. For a challenge, the player must narrate what their toon is doing, and the animator, once again the GM, will determine a difficulty level from 10, which is basic, to madness, which is 25. The player draws 2 cards from their deck and will reveal them. They're going to total the 2 cards. So either the numerical value, or 10 for face cards, aces, and jokers. And they're going to add their associated stat for that challenge. Now, if the color or suit of one or both cards match the stat, you'll also add a bonus of 1 for each matching card. You're going to compare that total to the difficulty to determine success or failure. Beating or missing the difficulty number by factors of 5 also determines the degree of success or failure. Toons can achieve incredible success as well as monumental failure. Showdowns work exactly the same, except toons have a list of actions they can choose from to perform. Player toons always go first in showdowns. There is no initiative. A showdown is broken down into turns, and a toon may do any of the following in their turn. Attempt a challenge, attempt an attack, skedaddle, use an item, or use a trick. Any toon has 4 tried and tested ways to attack during a showdown. Throw hands, put 'em up, put 'em up. Use their janky weapons, improvise a weapon with the scenery, which can also include fellow toons, or rely on the loony nature of their being. A player must embody and narrate their character's actions, describing how they try striking at the target. The attack is, once again, resolved by drawing 2 cards, adding their values with the associated stat score plus any additional bonuses from those drawn card suits. If the attack is made with a weapon, you must apply the relevant bonus from the weapon's description. The total must meet or beat the difficulty set by the animator. If so, the attack's successful and the toon lands a bonk on the target. If the result is lower than the difficulty, the attack fails or was deflected or parried or so forth. After all players have had their turn, then it's the animator's turn. The NPTs now get to act. Each player's toon needs to defend themselves using the same mechanic they use to attack. Remember, the animator doesn't have a deck of cards. They only narrate the scene and actions and set the difficulty for the draw. The players must describe how they face against the incoming attack. For example, they might slip away on a banana peel, or they might cross their arms to stand their ground, or they might stun the opponent with loud words, or they might rely on their loony nature to deform their body and avoid the attack. They draw their cards, add the relevant stat score, any applicable bonuses, and they're looking to beat the difficulty as set by the animator. If any of the toons have chosen to skedaddle, they're too far from the scene at hand, and the animator's non-player toons will not consider them as targets during the showdown. They'll get to them later, once these other pesky toons are dealt with. A showdown can end in a number of ways. Get out of dodge. The characters decide to pull out of the encounter. You ain't seen the last of me. The enemy pulls out of the encounter. Total KO. The characters take so much bonking that they all end up knocked out and owe a debt to the enemy. Victory! The city is ours. The enemy's defeated and knocked out, birdies flying around their heads. The toons are free to grab as many bucks from them as they can. And then we have ink. Ink is what colors a toon. No one really knows where the raw stuff comes from, but everyone knows it makes you feel great, meaning everyone in Helluva Town would like some, please and thank you. Of course, it can only be obtained by unofficial means or by stealing it from someone else. Using it also causes a form of addiction, which spells out a variety of negative consequences. Raw ink has very limited temporary effects, both positive and negative. Consuming ink makes a toon light up with vivid colors for a short burst. The colors cannot be hidden or removed, meaning that anyone will be able to tell that the toon has imbibed some ink. Raw ink can be found in the 4 colors associated with each toon stat. Using it grants an automatic success during a challenge, an attack, or a defense action during a showdown. During a showdown, additionally, raw ink also restores up to 3 bunks for the toon imbibing it. After using some raw ink, a toon is tuned out. At the start of the next showdown or challenge, that toon's player will draw 1 card instead of 2. If the toon makes use of another dose of raw ink while tuned out, the current effect is negated and applied again on the next showdown or challenge. That, in essence, happens to be the elements at the heart of Helluva Town. So let's talk about this Kickstarter, which just launched today. You've already had an opportunity to cast your eyes upon some of the wondrous artwork from illustrator Sean Dickinson. If you're familiar with the Cuphead comic book, he's your man. And you'll also have an opportunity to score the Helluva Town art book in this Kickstarter too. The Helluva Town core book is slated to clock in at around 80 pages, and you'll be able to resolve a copy of the physical book with PDF for a $31 pledge. You can grab the physical art book with PDF once again for a $20 pledge, or you can score both together, plus an animator screen and Helluva Town deck for a $63 pledge. Now, this Kickstarter is going to be a pretty quick one. It's only 15 days in length, so act fast. The expected delivery on both the digital and physical items is going to be April of next year. It's also important to note there is a quick starter, which is absolutely free, which will not only give you a breakdown of everything you need to know in order to play, plus tons of really cool artwork. It also includes a 20-page introductory adventure, which you can jump right into within minutes of learning to play. And it honestly only takes about 5 minutes for players to learn how to play Helluva Town. I have to say, if you are a fan of cartoon role-playing games and the lunacy of the early age of animation cartoons out there, then I really believe you're going to have a hell of a time with Helluva Town. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this Kickstarter preview, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.